well. Have you ever experienced on one side or another a legitimate I told you so moment? There is truly nothing more rewarding, for you anyway, when you can look at somebody, look in their eyes, deep in their eyes, and go, you know what? I told you so. You told me you were about to do something. I said, this is what's going to happen. You shouldn't do that. Then they did it anyway, and you get to be like, you know what? I told you so. And you get to be just smug and smarmy and so proud of yourself. But on the flip side of that, there's nothing more crushing than when you receive an I told you so. And you're like, you can't argue it because they did. They told you so. You made that bad decision, and then what they predicted to come to be is exactly what came to be. Have you ever experienced on one side or the other a legitimate I told you so moment, Mr. Rat?
It's so many. And I'll throw out that my parents had so many I told you so moments that all came out to be true, but I choose not to remember those moments. I choose to remember my own I told you so moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of them had to do with the case of I was raised by 2 nurses.
Yeah.
And one of those nurses was a Marine. So we were very much a household of like, rub some dirt on it. You'll be just fine. Like, it was hard to convince my parents if something was really wrong. And most times they were right. But there were several cases where I would be able to throw it back. Because my dad specifically, I had one point where we were doing something in the backyard. And I went between the garages. I ended up getting stabbed by this piece of metal that went into my knee.
Jeez.
And was stuck deep in my knee. And he had to pull it out. And I was like, that's a pretty big cut, and he's like, no, it'll be just fine. You'll be okay. And then it would always be about a day or two later where my dad would say, you know what, looking at that now, that probably could have used some stitches. Well, should we go in? And, well, no, if you got to do the stitches right away. If you don't, you can't do them later. So, no, it's too late now. What? I told you it was bad. What are we doing? And granted, my told you so to him never impacted that much.
Yeah.
But there were so many of those times where it's like, you're a nurse and a Marine, and you're questioning whether or not this is a bad injury. Come on.
Jamie, you ever experience a true blue one side or the other I told you so moment? Either you got to give one or you had to listen to one and go, yeah, you're right.
It's crazy because I can't even think of one time when somebody's gotten that from me. No, not a single time. But I've gotten it a lot where people have been like, I told you so, I told you so. And most of it comes to relationships because I always was a magnet to the biggest losers. You know what I mean? Like the guys that just, they were always a nightmare. And they were always that one type of guy. And I would get from my friends, my family, like, no, he's wrong for you. Like, you don't need to be with somebody that's like that. And I still would. And at the end of all those relationships, I'd hear, and I told you so. And I'd be like, but I would do it again and again and again.
Well, and when somebody legitimately did tell you so, what can you say? But said, yeah, you really did. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Ever experience an I told you so moment? You got to deliver one or you were forced to receive one. Sounds like you get to give one to your hubs pretty often, huh? Sorry, I couldn't read the note here. Husband, I assume it means.
Well, he gets hit on a lot by gay men, and he doesn't seem to pick up on that.
Okay.
And so I've tried to give him the cues for this is someone that's not just complimenting you, they're trying to hit on you.
Uh-huh.
And he just cannot get that through his head. And we've had quite a few I told you so moments in the grocery store when I walk away to go get something and I come back and he has sticky notes and business cards.
Okay, so he doesn't think that's what's happening at all. And then when you get back, it's like, well, I mean, clearly that's exactly what happened, friend.
I want to know who carries sticky notes around with them to give out their number.
Yeah.
Let me just take this off my pad.
It's pretty genius.
Admittedly, I've been there, and I've not realized I've been hit on, but I think I would realize when somebody's trying to give me their number.
Yeah.
That'd be like, what? Huh?
Because otherwise, just a random stranger like, you should call me sometime. Why?
Yeah.
Why would I? Oh, that's why I would call you. Okay, we're on the same page now. When did you experience it? I told you so moment? Hello.
that I told you so moment would be whenever I stay up too late at night a few nights in a row and I want to go party with my friends. I get an I told you so because I'll inevitably get a migraine at the end of the week.
So people are like, you shouldn't go out. You're going to regret that decision. You're going to be hungover. And you're like, no, I'll be fine. I'm going to be okay. And then the next morning you're like, they told me so. They definitely told me so. As far as Twitter and text go, you seen some I told you so moments?
It happened when we were out camping and I felt a bug go in my ear. My parents told me there was no way that a bug flew in my ear. 2 days later, I had to go to the emergency room to get a bug out. A good I told you so moment to my parents. Somebody else said probably when my brother and sister-in-law were choosing a house and they wanted a really old character home, and I warned them to get a home inspection, and they didn't. That house was a money pit, and they learned that lesson the hard way.
Your I told you so moment. You're getting one from the friends now and then, it looks like?
I mean, yeah, like they have to do I told you so to me all the time because I'm completely unaware of all of my patterns. Like, I just do the same things over and over again. I completely forget that I've done them before. So they're always just like, yeah, Adrian, we let you do that, but we told you so.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? They probably feel so good. They love being that friend to you, I'm sure, that's like, we told you so.
You get a sick rush from it when you know that your friend or whoever, your family member, is hurting because they got themselves in a situation where you have to say, I told you so. But you get this like sick, twisted feeling and you're smiling on the inside because you're like, yes, I was right.
The only bad part is when they actually take that away from you.
Yeah.
Because you give the I told you so moment and they're like, what? You never told me that.
Oh.
Yes, I did.
I
Don't
sure
take
did.
this away.
Even worse is when the friend that you're always getting to say, I told you so, grows up and figures their life out. And it's like, you know what? I'm proud of you, but I'm also a little sad your life isn't still a mess because I enjoyed being able to say I told you so all the time. Have you ever been on one side or the other of the I told you so moment? You had to receive it or you got to give it. 237